dead blow mallet for some percussionary encouragement. Gravity. Hello there, everybody. Good day to you guys. Today we're coming out to I think it's 2016 Jeep Compass. This thing was involved in some kind of a collision with an immovable object, and it came in on a tow truck, and it showed up with one wheel pointed this way and the other wheel, well, that one's pointed that way too, but this one's pointed this way way more. Check this out. It appears they ran into something here on the right front and absolutely annihilated the front suspension. Check this out. We got our lower control arm here, and the ball joint is ripped clean right out of it. We see some damage on the wheel there. There's some damage here on the axle from where it ran into that sway bar link, which is bent. See that up there? And we've got nothing holding this wheel in position, so I can't even drive the car in. But we've got to get this thing through the dirt parking lot, into there, around the corner, and on the rack. And I think I've got a way to do that. We're going to use a floor jack and like a bolt, and then we're going to drive it in. It's going to take 3 people to do it. It's going to be one driver, one person to drive the floor jack, and then one person to film it all. That way you guys can see what we're about to do. And I think this is the perfect candidate for the off-road tank jack. Not a sponsored video for the tank jack, just something cool that I bought one time. And it's about to pay for itself right about now. So let's drive this unit out into the parking lot. Oh, the headlight fell off. We're gonna drive it out in the parking lot and lift up the right front wheel on that Jeep. We're gonna lock the wheel in position. There we go. And drive the car in under its own power, hopefully. So stay tuned. This right here is gonna be a super awesome Sketch-O-Matic type of video. How about right down here? There we go. So what we're gonna do here is get this guy under the frame rail, right? We're gonna lift this right front wheel up if we can. Drag this thing in. Moving on up. Right there under the subframe. There we go. Beautiful. I like it. You like my tank jack?
That's adorable.
You like it? I think it's the coolest thing ever.
Tank jack.
It's the tank jack. We're gonna find out today if it's worth the couple $100 that it cost.
Looks like it's working.
Well, I have to drive the car in, is what we've got to do. Now, this is a front wheel drive vehicle. So when we start this engine, put this in gear, what it's going to want to do is just spin this wheel, because this one has the least amount of resistance. That one's attached or touching the ground, this one is not. So we have to prevent this wheel from turning in order to allow the torque from the transmission to affect the left front wheel. So we're gonna drive it in peg-legged on the left front. So what I'm gonna do is take a bolt and stick it down in the groove on that brake rotor, and it's gonna prevent that rotor from rotating because the bolt is gonna get stuck on this caliper bracket right here. Does that make sense? So when we put this thing in drive, transmission's gonna wanna go forward. This wheel won't be able to go. It's elevated off the ground, so the only wheel that has traction is gonna be the left front, and then we can drive this thing in. So I'm gonna drive, Dave's gonna steer the tank jack. We're gonna drive this thing off-road style through the parking lot, and you're gonna record this this circus, and we're gonna see if this thing's gonna go in the shop. What do you say?
This is great.
Good idea?
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. Let's go fetch Dave real quick. He's working on an AccuRub. All right, we got some fasteners here. One of these should be the one that we need. So we're gonna take that guy and stick, yeah, perfect, just like so. That might do it. I think that's enough right there. Yep. Let's try the other one. Maybe this one fits better. Negative. There, we got 2 of them in there for safety. Now we're cooking. All right.
Action.
Action. All right, so Dave, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go in there and try to drive this thing. And I just need you to steer the tank jack and help me steer the car into the shop. It's either gonna work or it's not, right? It might work. If not, we have to change the control arm in the parking lot. The look on your face.
I think it's gonna come off the jack.
Well,
We'll find out.
if it does, you're gonna let me know that. How's that?
Oh, you'll know. Oh, I'll tell you.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen. You gotta take that wheel off.
Let it down some.
All right, go ahead.
There you go.
It's working. Are we there, Dave?
No, a little bit more. That should do it.
All right. Sweet. That actually worked. Alrighty guys, so it's not just the next day, it's like the next week. And we're on a short week. It is it's the Christmas holiday week. Merry Christmas everybody. So where we're at now is I've got this rack set up. We're gonna pick the vehicle up and pull the wheel and get a kind of a closer dive as to what's going on inside this unit. Check out some lift points, make sure we're all good and not destroying body panels and whatnot. Yep, all is well. Let's get it up off the jack. Do we have contact here? Yep, 4 points of contact. Okay. Always sketchy. Yep, think we're good. Black subscribe button. Moving on up. Look, it's beach rated. That's cute. But we're not allowed to drive on the beach on the Gulf Coast, so it's non-rated, I guess. Yeah, we can do that on the Atlantic, but not the Gulf side. Just the Atlantic side. And I think the municipalities are taking that away from the Atlantic side people also. I think some of them. Anyways, let's go ahead and pull this wheel off. We'll get our bolts out of the rotor and see what's going on inside of here. Let's see what's going on in here. Yes, darling.
The vehicle that needs a tiny change. This one.
Yes, ma'am. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. Hang on. I had to switch out to a thin-walled socket to fit inside of there. We've got some spacers on this Jeep. I remember this Jeep from a couple years ago. We put a transmission in this. I talked about these spacers. Not a fan of spacers. Changes geometry and they can lead to the incorrect wheel offset. that offset puts a torque load on your bearing. It can tear up wheel bearings. Okay, so the wheel's off. Let's go and see what we've got going on here. We've got a bunch of surface rust on the rotor. This is just from morning dew and humidity and lack of use, because this thing's kind of been parked out there for a few days. So that is a lack of use surface rust, kind of a non-issue. You can prove that by looking at the inside. You see how the inside is fairly rust-free-ish and the outside's covered in it, because this is due to atmosphere just contacting the bare metal. Anyways, as we saw earlier, clearly we've got a ball joint problem and a control arm problem. So this control arm's going away. We've got a lift kit here on this Jeep. See that right there, that strut, that little spacer on the top of the strut? Here's our top strut plate here. That's the bearing plate so the strut can turn while the vehicle's turning. This right here is a lift kit spacer, okay? If we mosey on around to the rear of the vehicle, we can see another lift kit spacer here. So we've got a lift kit, we've got some offset wheels. These are probably newer Jeep wheels. That one caught a curb. Yeah, they ran into something here. I'm not sure how the accident went, but it looks like this thing left the motorway and encountered an immovable object. Let's take a look at the wheel on the other one here. We've got some gnarly looking curb rash going there. Okay. Let's see the inside. This damage in here, that's from the ball joint gouging into the aluminum. What do you guys think? Is this thing serviceable, or do we have to replace it? If this was a body shop ticket under insurance, they would write this up for a replacement wheel, I can tell you that. Now structurally, it may or may not be okay. That's a tough call to make. That's why the body shop would default to towards a replacement on such things. We've got some gouging in the tire as well. See all this right here? We don't know the extent of this damage. It's holding air. It appears that damage from the tire is after the control arm broke, the suspension moved rearwards while the vehicle was still in motion, and the tire was rotating into the vehicle structure here. So we've got a bit of body damage in there. It shoved the plastic in past the metal structure behind it. A little bit of dent action going here, but this is sort of okay-ish. Again, body shop would replace this panel here, which is going to be that panel. We've got damage here on this panel. This is from whatever they must have hit, like a curb or something. Whatever they hit, it ran along this area here. And then somehow met up with the wheel here and here. See some scuff marks there. Okay. Back to the affected area. We may have a bent roll bar here, because, or sway bar rather. The linkage is bent right there. You see that bend in it there? And then it looks like this bracket, which was part of that lift kit, I believe that's part of that lift kit because it's got the same powder coating. This is an extension bracket to accommodate for the lift, because this would theoretically always remain the same length. And if we use the factory hole in the strut, it would push the sway bar down. It would make contact with the subframe. So we've got the spacer here to bring the sway bar up to maintain geometry with the presence of this lift kit. So what we need to be doing here is replacing this control arm real fast. And I think we need to put this thing on the alignment machine to determine, that's a torn bushing, to determine if anything else is bent. That's not looking great. You see all the torque load going in that bushing. So the bushing's kind of spread out here, and it appears this thing is shoved up in that direction. I'm wondering if it's got a bent sway bar as well. Let's check this other side. Yeah, that one's kind of straight looking. I think the sway bar also took a hit. That should have flexed, but it's possible the control arm may have run into it It was violent. Whatever happened in here was pretty violent. I bet it was scary for the occupants. Hope everybody's okay. Yep, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and get the control arm for this. We're gonna slap a control arm in and put the wheel back on, bring it over to the alignment machine here. We're gonna set the heads up, get some measurements, and then see what other additional components are going to be necessary to repair this thing. I'm gonna go get the control arm, which I think's been ordered, and I need to make an order for that sway bar link up there as well. So let me go do some clerical stuff, then we're gonna come back and start tearing this bad boy down. What is this? What is this? Something else. There's more. Hang on, there's more. We're on the driver's front here. Let me get a light. Yeah, I just happened to look up and I see this wheel weight has been drug across the lip of the wheel here. Okay. We're flinging grease out of something. That looks like CV axle grease. That's flinging grease out of it. Maybe unrelated, maybe related, I don't know. There's some weird type of damage here. I'm not sure how that managed to contact this. You know, maybe I did that while we had this up in the... No. I'm thinking maybe when this was jacked up, that was touching and just kind of rubbing on it. I hope I didn't damage this thing bringing it in. We'll cross that bridge in a minute. Yeah, back to the plan. Let's pull this control arm out. Okay, so this should be a little easier since this is 33% already disconnected. I pulled off the little panel thing over here. It disappeared out of nowhere. Did that when you guys weren't looking. Figured it'd be easier if I just removed that because we're gonna be digging a lot of parts out of this later. Let's make sure this bolt's not bent. It took a hit and should probably be replaced. Watch, because I'll do this. I think it's good. Yep. All I saw was movement in the socket. Yeah, that one looks good. Okay. Yeah, if the bolts are bent, they've got to go away. We can't put fasteners back in that have become bent. Not great. Loud noises, sorry. What's the problem here? Is there a nut? Yeah, there's a nut up there. Okay, I gotta put a wrench on it. Oh yeah, I see it right there. There's a nut. So 21 millimeter ratcheting wrench on the nut just to kind of capture it right there. And we'll come back with the gun here. That one also did not look there. Here's my nut. Disconnected there. This control arm should just pop right out. Pry bar. You guys come around over here. And I'll come around over here. Get behind it. Come out, please. There she is right there. And to no surprise, this bushing back here is torn. That was not probably torn from the accident. That's probably just fatigued and torn from dry rot. Yeah, you see right here all that dry rot in it. Now, when you guys are inspecting these in the wild, you should note they're only contacting usually in two places, like here and here. You will have a gap here and here because the forces that are intended for this are going to push and pull in just one direction. It's not going to be a 360-degree force, so they do not have a 360-degree bond around the bushing. So don't mistake this gap as a tear. Look for the actual telltales, which is going to be the cracks in it. Don't let someone tell you that it's, you know, just dry rot or surface cracking or checking. That is a failed bushing, however you want to cut it. Now we just need to peel this other half of the ball joint out of the knuckle. Hopefully to come right out. We take this bolt and nut off. That's going to relieve some tension / pressure tension on the bolt, pressure on the stud inside. It's going to relieve all that pressure slash tension, relax these two sides of the bottom of the knuckle here, and that thing should pop out. They tend to rust in there. It may be appealing to come in here with a chisel to try to spread those open. Use caution with that, because the Subarus especially, you'll break the knuckle trying to spread those apart. And what happens is this just gets full of rust and those two pieces fuse together, and you got to replace the knuckle anyway, but you don't realize it till you broke it. So I don't think we're gonna have to deal with breaking the knuckle on this. We may have a bent knuckle, but the alignment machine will let us know. So, cut my finger real quick. That backing plate's bent. Pry it back out. Yeah, so we need like a 17 and a 17, I think, something like that. Sure. Or 18. I knew it wasn't 17. That didn't look right. Let's take the nut out. Ding. I'll do that. There we go. All right, got it out. The nut and the bolt. So what I'm gonna do is just come in here with some vice grips around this ball, get a hold of it. Oh good, it turns. It means it's not rusted in. So what we're gonna do, turn this into a slide hammer, kinda. Try to hammer it down. It's going. You
need a bigger hammer?
No. Sometimes it's the motion there you got to worry about, not the size. There we go.
On the bottom here.
You ever? I got you there, boss. We sign that. There you go.
Ready?
Thank you, my friend.
I'll give you your copy. I'll take mine.
Beautiful.
We'll all be happy.
Have a fantastic day, my friend. Merry Christmas. See you later. All right, back to hammering. Trying to clean up the core return shelf before we go. Trying to do end of year, end of month, end of week, have a holiday, move my store. We're doing paint and cleaning right now over there. Okay, this has gotten itself a little bit seized. I'm gonna try to rotate it because I have the best mechanical advantage with rotation. I know, we need lubricant. You guys have been saying that the whole time. Let me get my crayons, hang on. Put some oil in there, it's penetrating oil. It's good for penetrating. Oh yeah, that turns way more better. Okay, I guess you guys are right. I should have put lube on it. I should listen more often. It's moving. I saw a couple millionths of a meters of motion there, and we're stuck. Okay. Reverse. We're just gonna work it in and out, and in and out, and in and out until it does what I want. Here we go. Oh yeah, that once back in did it. Had to bottom it out, but we're good. That's the other half of the unit there. Remember what I said? We've got a ball in socket joint. That's why they're referred to as a ball joint. With plastic bushings. See that? There's plastic in there. So this is what's holding the weight of the vehicle. A plastic bushing. There's some grease in it. Very interesting. Okay, well I have a new one. It's a Moog. A recent arrival. Moog part number, this is for the right side. It's gonna be RK620065. Right designation. Came with some hardware for the ball joint. grease fittings, a nut, bushings, and new ball joint. The blade, boss. The blade. This is why technicians can't send parts back, because we annihilate packaging to open things. You parts store guys will know that. You open up a return box and it's covered in dirt and grease and half the stuff's missing. The box is destroyed, everything's covered in fingerprints. That's just the way. Okay, so remember what I had said about full contact on those bushings. This right here, we have a contact patch here and here. This is a non-structural contact patch. See that? It's super thin. That's just rubber overlay during the moldings, but there's really no contact made of any structural relevance in this area versus this area. You can even see a hole through that one. I didn't poke that one. There's a hole right in it. Hope the light went through. Anyway, let's take this guy. We have a new ball joint, clearly. Pop that guy off. That's our hole for our grease fitting. Okay, yep. So let's go put this thing back into our subframe and get the car over to the wheel alignment rack for some measurements. Let's see. We've got this pocket in the back. We've got to stick this into the pocket. That's in. I'm going to fit the ball joint into the knuckle. Hand hammer. Go. That went in-ish. A couple love taps, that'll send it home. Then we'll run the bolt through it. Then yank the whole assembly out, put that in the hole, and then get the bolts in. Dead blow mallet for some percussionary encouragement. Gravity. I'm not gonna cut that part out. That's real life. That actually happened. So now that we've done we finished cleaning out this hole here for the ball joint, we can put it back in without throwing it on the floor. There. Let's get the bolt set up. Can't get in. Now, that little fitting, that grease fitting in there, we're going to install this guy last. In case I've got to initiate some tappy taps on this, we don't want to break that guy off. If we break it off or tear the threads out of the bottom of the ball joint, then we effectively have ruined it. And that would not be ideal. There. So now this thing can't fall out again. It is secured. Let's go back with pry bar, pry this thing out and up and in, and then set the bolts up. Pry bar 30. Okay. I imagine that the lift kit that this thing has is not helping my cause much. I'm feeling some binding happening already, and we haven't even started to get this stuff close. Yeah. So I got a problem here. Let's go around. Oops, sorry, blinded you. See the bushing in there? See how it turns sideways? That needs to be vertical, and it's never going to flip vertical from that position, so we need to rethink the strategy here. I'm taking it back apart. Let's pull this guy back out. Why? I just got myself all bound up here. Actually pretty bad. When a job goes south, it gets frustrating. Come on, ball joint. It's stuck now. It's bound up. Okay. I know. I'll go around to this side and work this bushing back out. I got it stuck in there pretty good. Oh yeah, I'm stuck. Come on out. It's stuck enough where I'm sweating. Okay, we've got motion again. We're gonna get it out. Oh yeah, that corner bushing over there is bound up. Super nice, nasty. It's in there. I need to just kind of yank on it, pull it out. There we go. Got it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, try this again. We're gonna put this back in and get the bolt in that bushing there, so that bushing maintains orientation. Then we're gonna flex it and then put the other two bushings in place. Got to do it that way. I'm going to need a lot more space here, so we're gonna pull this tie rod off the knuckle, or not. Yeah, the stud's spinning now. That's cute. Okay. This is escalating quickly. The ball and socket stud is turning, and the nut is not turning independent of the stud. So we need to create some friction in there so that we can turn the nut on this tie rod sleeve. So I'm gonna take this floor jack here. We're gonna give some up pressure onto that stud. That up pressure may generate the friction that I need to get the nut to come off, okay? So what we're gonna do, put some pressure on it, get a little bit of lubricant on the threads here. That's pretty bright, move that. We wanna get lube on the threads, but not on the stud down here. We want friction here and no friction here. The problem that we have is this is a nylock nut. See that piece of nylon right there? That nylon is designed to create friction in there to prevent that nut from backing off. That is its purpose. That is its reasoning, its will. There we go. Nope. More up pressure. I think that's all I get. Sketchy. A little bit more. A little bit more. Get the truck moving. Taking a lot of weight here. Let's go the other way. It's a fighting me, that's for sure. More lubricant. We're getting almost to the edge, and then that rust on the threads is hanging up the rest of the nut. So much for keeping the stud free of lube. Why? Backing off again. There we go. Got it. You lose. That nut is going to be hot. Too hot to trot. That was ineffective. There's the nut. So let's let this thing back down. Oh. Seriously. We're done with this for now. We'll just sling that off to the side. Stay right there. Okay, we're winning. A little bit. I know that comes free. Claw hammer. By the way, claw hammers have no business in an auto shop. We really shouldn't be using those. It's a trolling device. Professional rage bait. This lift kit's murdering me. I can't get suspension articulation to pull this out. Ah, lift kits. Wow. I didn't like that. So what I've achieved here, a little bit more space. We can move some things around. So let's take this and put it up out of the way-ish. Okay, see what I've got going on here? We're level-ish. I'm gonna put that bolt in. Everything's in the way. This lift kit is not playing nicely. Goodness. We're getting close. This must be done carefully. See there? Yeah, we're getting some alignment now. So, put that bolt through. See if we can line it up with the holes. We're pretty close. Yeah. Almost. I wonder, I think if I run those threads, it'll pull its way through. Wrong socket. Yep. All right, back one's in. Here's the big nut. I'll leave it loose for the time being. Okay. So that's got to go over there. This has got to follow with it. We're gonna put the ball joint in and move it all around. This is where we started. Here we go. And my nut on the back side of that, just to secure. Let's pry this thing up into its bracket and bolt her in. Yeah? Floor jack. I said I'd see this thing later. I didn't realize I'd be needing it. There's really nothing to push off of here. Oh, that's cute. Equipment defect. Let's change some articulated angles here. How about that? I'm gonna pull this thing back out and I'm gonna move it over to the bottom of the ball joint here to give me some up and maybe some spring compression on the strut. Doing that may change our angles and help me slide that thing in. Plus the motion on it is gonna break a little bit of friction that we have going on right there with those parts being jammed in at an angle. And again, we gotta make sure that I don't pick the car up off the rack. Knock the thing over. That would be unfortunate. ratchet strap. So we've got a hole right here, right? We'll hook one end of the strap into it. And then right here on the other side, we'll hook the ratchet side and pull these guys together. And that should encourage this side's little deal here to slide into its position. Yeah, bear with me. Let me get this little setup here set up, and we'll try to make the pull. Oh, gravity. I'll stop it, ratchet strap. I need you to stay there. There we go. Ah, that's gonna work. Take a look. Watch it, watch it, watch it. It's totally gonna work. Okay, pulling in. So let's make some things move a little bit. I'm gonna pull down some pressure here. Okay, it didn't really go anywhere. A little bit more ratchet strapping. A couple clicks. Hope these straps don't break. There we go. That went in. That's what I was looking for. That's what we needed. So let's release the strap. Booyah. So with that thing getting closer, we'll take the pole jack, bring it back. I need to raise the lift up just a wee bit. Bear with me. Coming up, and no, we're not on the locks anymore. Pin, there we go. Let me let it down some. You can be off the locks for temporary things such as this. It's long-term parking on the rack that you got to pay attention to your locks. So I'm gonna have to do another pull with the ratchet strap, I think. Here we go. Ooh, lunch lady. How are you, lunch lady?
Oh, goody. I have sunrise, sunset.
I need a smoothie. Let me have that smoothie there, darling. That there, darling, there.
It's got
What's it got?
strawberries, pineapples. It's called sunrise, sunset.
Yummy. Thank you, dear.
Mine's healthy greens. Doesn't
Gross.
that look delicious?
That's disgusting. You're lucky I'm drinking an orange. That's nasty.
How you like it?
Yummy.
Is it tart?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to try mine?
Nope. Real quick trick here. Let's try something. If I can get the tip of this guy in, I should be able to hammer this chisel in and it'll draw that bushing into place. Not quite small enough on the tip, so let's ruin a screwdriver. Maybe. There we go. Don't break. Chisels tend to release some shards when they break, and I don't want to get sharded. Dang, this does not want to go together. I need to compress this spring. That's what needs to happen here. This spring needs to be compressed. We're starting to bind. Just with the geometry limitations that we have here, it's binding up. I'm gonna go in once more with the ratchet strap and create some tension in this direction. Again. So we'll have to pry on it, chisel it, hammer it, jack it up, let it down. We're gonna do all kinds of stuff to get this to go together. Okay, see how it sort of drew in? But it's wanting to come down at the same time. So I'm going to push it up with the jack. It's going to slide right off. That's not going to work. We're close. We're real close. I got it. I know what to do. Brilliant, I think. Watch this. We'll take this guy, send it up and over, and hook it through the top. So now when I ratchet, the hook is going to pull, it's going to pull that control arm up and in, not down and in. Let's see if that's going to work. Nope, it's not. There's nowhere for these parts to go. Pry bar, but we're still outwards now. You guys see it? We're getting super close. Whew. I think I just tore some nylon in my ratchet strap there. So super duper close. Whack. That was stupid. Okay, we're like so super close. I'm gonna take the bolt here, and you see the end of the bolt is not threaded. See that? So I'm wondering if I can just kind of use this bolt to leverage that in. This is risky. What that is the non-threaded portion of the bolts slipped into the threaded portion of the threads back in the subframe, which is achieving some partial alignment, okay? Wrong socket. That should hook up. Wrong socket times 2. Didn't even know I had 3 of these out. It caught. Okay. Let's lose the ratchet strap over here. That thing is super tight. Okay, so the thing's in, it's in. You notice I've got fasteners loose on it. What we're gonna do now, let's put this tie rod back in. Is it gonna go? Flex it. Seriously? Okay. Take our nut, put that guy back in. And we're gonna have to put pressure on this. Yeah, all of those bushing bolts and whatnot, we're going to tighten those up on the alignment rack later. I've meant to get the thought out, but I'm thinking and feeling and doing and talking, and yeah, Yeah, so I never got that full thought out there. Monday things, I suppose, right? What size is this? 19? Good enough? Click. There we go. Okay. So, pull this stuff out and throw the wheel on real quick light. And then we shall go to the alignment rack. You guys wait here. I have not forgotten that plastic panel, nor have I forgotten the ball joint grease fitting. We're going back into this later, I guarantee you. Because there's something bent, something on the back is bent, and this strut over here and or this knuckle is also probably bent. I say that from experience. And that back one, I can kind of see it from here. It's not looking right. Those are not torqued to spec. It's temporary. Okay, let's let her down. Down, down, down. Jeep going down. Red Knight going down. We went to medieval times with the kids for a homeschool field trip with the co-op. It was like 80 kids. And they say homeschool kids never get social interaction. That's nonsense. Anyway, we went to medieval times in Kissimmee. That made some noise. That's weird. Looks very lifted. Yeah, so ever since medieval times, I've been reciting the Larry the Cable Guy, Jim Carrey, Red Knight going down. Yeah, that's super lifted. Look at this thing. My hands are washed, so I don't put fingerprints on their steering wheels. See, shiny. Super shiny. There's a rubber thing there, so I didn't scratch the paint. Also shiny. I get that all the time. We touch the door, they're like, "Oh, you just messed up your door." No, it's fine. We have no electrons. We killed another one, Dave. Have no electrons.
What happened? The key you left on?
Yeah, I guess we left the key on last week.
Last week.
Well, yes, today is for Monday. That's Monday, Fun Monday. And we brought this in on Friday. That's Freitag auf Deutsch. Ich sprechen Sie Deutsch. Yeah, so last week. Let's see. See, now this is all in the eye of the beholder. One would say, well, you killed the battery. And one could also say we were conducting an extended duration load test. See? That's what I think. It was an extended duration load test where we're testing its durability. Like breaking a rake.
It's like what?
Breaking a rake. Remember when Happy Gilmore threw the rake in the woods because it's wood and he wanted it to be with its family?
Yeah.
He didn't break the rake. He placed it in the woods because it was homesick. 11-9, yeah, she should start. Let's try this again. Ding, ding, ding. Wake up, Jeep. There we go. She's alive. Charging. Yep, we're good. I'll take that back. Beautiful. Here, darling, hold that for me. I'm going to drive on the rack. Dave,
My turn.
Guide me up, sir. Yeah. Hey, go on. didn't put the spacer back on this. I put that wheel on and I left the spacer off.
What's that mean?
These things have wheel spacers on them. I chucked that wheel on this with no spacer. I didn't put the spacer back on.
So now what?
Oh, nothing. It's fine. I messed up the wheel offset. I'm glad
you caught that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 99% of cars don't have a wheel spacer, so it's not a muscle memory in the brain thing. I'll just leave it running since the battery containment unit is low. Yeah, look, this one's all tucked in. And that one's sticking out. Yeah, I should probably put those spacers on there. Okay, so I'm gonna let this run. Let's set up the wheel alignment heads on the wheel alignment machine. I'll give you guys a bit of a tour on this unit. All right, so let's get this thing lifted up in the air to a level where I can get the heads on the wheels, and I've got to go ahead and jack this front back up and get the that spacer in position here. Moving back up. My mind tells me that I can probably compensate and get alignment measurements out of that without the spacer on it. I can't really see how the offset would really matter, except for perhaps when I make a caster measurement. But just to eliminate any possibility of that throwing off the measurements, like I said, we're just going to put the spacer back on, and then that will be that. So 2, 3, 4, set the locks. Let's go down on the lock real quick, like. Good to go. Okay. Need my air for the jack. Oh man, the jack's all the way down here. That sucks. Come on, Jack. Jackety jack. Don't jack back. Oh, where are we gonna put this? Man, this thing's lifted for a little bit. It's like the actual Jeep's little brother. Super mad because he can't participate in all the reindeer games. What do I do? This angle of these control arms is so steep. I fear trying to lift from these control arms. Like, normally that's how we do it, but this angle is something fierce in there. And I don't know if that's even safe. We'll find out, I guess. No. Not really. I've done sketchier things. Yeah, I don't really care for that. Look at that. Super steep angle right there. We're gonna have to make this fast. It seems to be okay. It's not gonna slide off because it'd have to go and combat that angle. I just don't really like it. But it can only fall like that much, so we're good. All right, speed one, NASCAR style through this. Man. Hey, listen, I'm a little conflicted all of a sudden. Current events, yeah, I have to say it. I'm sure many of you guys know or have heard about the plane crash the other day that carried Greg Biffle and his family. If you don't know, Google it. It sort of almost kind of hits home. See, Bradenton it's kind of a motorsports oriented a little bit town. We've got a racetrack over here. You guys know that. Cletus McFarlane, Garrett Mitchell from the Cletus McFarlane YouTube channel owns it. Anyway, what I read, and I don't know Greg, and I don't know Garrett Cletus either. Never met the man, either one of them. But I guess what I understood is that Greg Biffle, who's a NASCAR legend, he was on his way down to Sarasota to visit Cletus Garrett and his family, and his plane had trouble on takeoff and ultimately crashed, and there were no survivors of the crash. It's a horrible, tragic event, and when I heard the news and I saw Garrett's post, I felt that inside, and I'd like to take this opportunity to use the channel to express my condolences to everybody who was affected, and I'd like to ask for I guess we'll call it just a quick moment of silence for Greg and his family and all of those who are mourning his tragic loss. And it's not just his family. Greg had a very large following of individuals that looked up to him, and he, from what I understand, was a mentor in the community. And I'd just like to take this moment to recognize that, and I hope you guys do as well. So I'm gonna put this wheel back on, and we'll pick back up afterwards. Let's let this thing back down and get on with our measurements here. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to put the measuring heads from the alignment machine onto the wheels. We're going to perform a procedure called a rolling compensation. I'll talk to you about what that means in a moment. After our rolling compensation, the machine will have measurements regarding the orientation of the wheels. So what we're looking for is the wheels to be parallel to each other, left and right, and front and rear, and perpendicular-ish to the ground. So we want 90 degrees vertical from the ground. That is our camber angle. Okay, that's our lean in and out. Parallel to each other, that's gonna be this wheel is pointing straight ahead, this wheel is pointing straight ahead-ish, so roughly parallel to each other. That's gonna be our toe angle. Think of your feet right here. You got straight feet, you're toed out, you're toed in. French fries and pizza, kind of like the skiers. So we've got camber and caster back, camber and toe back here. And in the front we have camber, caster, and toe. Caster is a relationship between the center line of the wheel and the pivot point of the steering system. For example, we see our center line of the wheel right here. We draw an imaginary straight line upwards to the pivot point, which is the top of the strut, and we can see roughly, maybe you guys can see it from here, the pivot point is farther rear from the vertical center line of the tire. So this vehicle has a pivot rake forward, similar to a motorcycle. How the wheel's out front, but the pivot point is back here on your handlebars. That's gonna be positive caster. Positive caster gives us excellent straight line stability, because as that wheel is angled forward, the weight of the vehicle naturally wants to settle rearwards and is hanging behind the center line of the wheel. So if the wheel were to turn, it has to fight against the gravitational forces of the vehicle to make that turn. So when you let go of your steering wheel, it wants to default back to going straight again, and you have good straight line stability. That's positive caster, okay? If we end up in a situation with negative caster, we're gonna think of it like a shopping cart wheel. One of these things. You ever see a shopping cart going down and it's just flopping, 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 flopping? Because the weight is in front of the caster, in front of the center line, and because of that, it's an unstable platform and it's easier for turning. That's why when you drive your shopping cart, you can easily just 0 degree turn the thing, spin it around in circles, because the front wheels are not bearing any resistive load towards a turning moment, and turning is quite easy. But in a straight line, you see that wheel's flopping all over the place because it's not stable going straight. So that's a negative caster versus a positive caster. Most vehicles, we're gonna wanna have a positive caster for stability. Now, we're going to have an even measurement on both sides regarding caster and camber and toe for that matter. We want symmetry. That's what we're looking for, is symmetry. Not symbolism, but symmetry. So what we do, take these little heads right here, and in the machine, the little lasers up there with a camera in the center of it. Those little lasers are going to shine down on these reflective heads, and then the camera is going to take a picture of what the heads are looking like from this position. We're going to roll the thing backwards. It's going to take another picture at the rear position. Then it's going to average those two pictures. And what that's going to tell the machine is where the run out is regarding the head to wheel relationship. So, for example, it's never going to be perfect when you put this on. I could put this head on and have it be this way a little bit. I realize that's exaggerating, but on a small scale, it's going to be off center this way, or up, or down, or back. And so we have to compensate for that level of run out in the head to wheel relationship. That way we can calculate a zero, like a baseline. It's a zero baseline for the wheel. So we're basically just taking into account the imperfection of the mounting structure. So effectively you could say that we are calibrating it. That's what we're doing. It's a calibration. So let's center the steering wheel. Is that in sync? I don't know. Take the parking brake off. We have to roll this around. We're in neutral. Engine running because the battery's dead. Let's turn the headlights off so as to not confuse the cameras. I got ahead of myself. We need to move this forward onto the turn plates. Just give it a bit of a roll here. That's good. We'll go through these turn plates in a moment. Now these have to be vertical-ish. We just eyeball it. Okay, there's a little flat on the back of this thing. Let me show you. Just kind of eyeball that being vertical. That's really all you have to do. Make sure that guy's tight. Make sure this is tight. Now, if you guys are in the field working these types of systems, see that bushing? That's brass, okay? That's super soft metal. If you sit here and crank on this thing trying to make these super tight, you're gonna strip that brass out and then they won't work anymore, and then you can't do an alignment. Then you can't make any money, and that would be bad. So you do not have to torque the daylights out of these little handles here. All you've got to do is make the little hooks hang on to the wheel. So you just kind of set it up, turn. I'm leaning on this with my chest a little bit just to give it some forward pressure. We tighten it enough to where it won't fall out, and then stiff arm it like Jerome Bettis. There's about 6 people here that are gonna get that reference. There we go. And I appreciate you. Okay, vertical. While we're walking by, we can start the computerizer. Yep. Don't scratch up people's wheels with these. I realize this case does not matter because these wheels are already scratched up, but don't scratch people's wheels. Vertical-ish, it's tight, very nice. Last one. Oh yeah, and these things right here, don't clean them with red shop towels either. Because red towels are abrasive and it'll scratch up the reflective surface, make your alignment machine not work. That would also be bad. Okay. Clickage, vertical, tight, ready to compensate. So we go to our computerizer. We're on BMW. J for Jeep. Where's my Jeep? I believe this is a compass, right? Compass. And Mexico production, 1117 USA production, sure. Front wheel drive diesel, not that. All wheel drive or all wheel drive diesel. Well, it's not the diesel, and it is all wheel drive. So we're gonna go AWD, non-diesel, without off-road group, with off-road group AWL. Well, it's lifted, so I'm just gonna select with off-road group, and it's beach rated. Okay, so as we select vehicle, this is gonna populate all of our specifications. This looks like a lot, but it's really quite simple. We've got fronts and rears, okay? Camber, cross camber. Cross camber is the sum of both cambers, so there's a spec for the sum of both sides, and then there's an individual spec for both sides. Same thing with caster. You got left and right caster. We're looking for 3 degrees positive on the left side and 2.7 positive on the right side. That differential has a cross caster spec, and ideally our cross caster would be 0.3 degrees. Our spec limit, our range, is 1 full degree difference between the two. So we could have 3 degrees on the left side, and we could be down to 2.0 degrees on the right side, and that's within spec on both. We have tolerance of 1 degree on either side. So we don't want to operate within those tolerances. We want to be in the center of those tolerances. For example, I could make this say 4 degrees and 2 degrees. It would be in spec and in spec here, but our cross caster would not be in spec because our spread would be probably over 1 full degree. It'd be 2 degree spread. So that would be out of spec, even though we have a spec range on both individual sides. Same thing with our toe. Our toe spec, we're looking for 0.20 total, and since those are active measurements, meaning you're always steering and turning the vehicle, you want to have a parallel achievement between the two. So our spec with a straight ahead steering wheel is going to be 0.1 degrees on the left side and 0.1 degrees on the right side. Now, me personally, I prefer less than 1/5 of a degree for total toe for a tire wear measurement. We will gain some straight line stability out of a positive number here, kind of like pizza and French fries, but for tire wear purposes, I'm going to shoot for a target of 0.10 degrees. So my individual toe is going to be 0.05 here and 0.05 here, giving me a sum of 0.1, which would be within tolerated specifications set by the manufacturer. And this continues to go on into our rear side. Now again, we don't have a caster measurement on the rear because the rears are stationary. They don't turn, and they don't have much to do with stability other than your camber for cornering stability and traction, and then of course your toe for straight line stability and or cornering ease. So if we set up toe for a negative toe, we get an unstable rear end platform, so it'll turn better, but it won't be stable in straight line high speed maneuvers. So we want to find a good average based on how we drive, and we're looking for tire wear, driving habits, road conditions, things of that nature. And that's where these specifications come from. That's where they're engineered from that point of view. We'll go ahead and let's move on. We need to go ahead and do our compensating. So we're going to go to measurements and adjustments, K1, K2, K3, K4, corresponding to F1, 2, 3, and 4, K1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to select K4, measurements and adjustments. This is prompting us to take or to perform the compensation procedure. So what we want to do is roll the vehicle backwards. Got a depiction of the vehicle, heads on it, and we want to put these arrows, which will track the heads, we're going to put those in the center until we get a green indicator here, and that's when we know the picture is sufficient for the compensation procedure. So I come back over here, get that out of my way, dirt on it, and we're going to roll this thing backwards, not by the head, by the tire. I'm going to use the tire. We're going to roll it back. See how we're green on the machine? It just took the picture. So now, while this thing is clear, the turn plate is clear of the wheel, we're going to line this up a little bit better. Center line to center line. Give that a little bit of a shove in. It's not going to go. This thing's pushing forward, pinching this in between here. It's not going to go. That's close enough. We're good with that. This one's okay-ish. I can't like it. So what I'm going to do a drive-by wave at the wife unit. I realize this is kind of overkill, but when we are dealing with measurements in fractions of a degree, precision can matter. And I don't want to leave any room to doubt. Center line to center line, there we go. Center line, there we go. Second drive-by. So now I'm going to roll this forward, centering the front wheel on the turn plate. Now those turn plates, it's basically just a plate with a bunch of plastic ball bearings between this bottom plate and this top plate. And what those do is allow this wheel to rotate with no friction from the rubber. Not rotate forward, backwards, rotate left and right. So if we turn the wheel, there will be no frictional forces resisting our turning moment. So we pull the bridges out, pull the pins, that bridge, good. Now we must apply the brake pedal, because we cannot have these wheels spinning and rotating this direction while we're performing the procedure. That would throw off the compensation, because these wheels are known to be in a certain fixed position now. If we were to change that, the whole system is going to be out of whack and we've got to restart the entire procedure. So let's go ahead and tell it to take a caster measurement. This goes in conjunction with the application of the brake pedal depressor, because we've got to go into the cabin to apply the brakes, and we've got to go into the cabin to perform our caster measurement. See, the other measurements, those are active, live measurements. The caster measurement has to be taken a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to put the brake pedal depressor in here on the seat. Push that guy down some, and I also apply the parking brake. Throw them in park while we're doing this. So what we do here, with the pins removed, bridges removed, engine running, brakes applied, parking brake ready to go, we're going to take the steering wheel and we're going to follow into our little green indicators. So I'm turning left right now, and we watch those arrows creeping left. It took the right side measurement. I'm going back to the right slowly, bring that arrow into position. It's centered, you see it? So now our wheel is turned left, right? Correct? Let's go back the other direction, following our arrows. It's going to capture the right front, beep. A little more, capture the left front. Sometimes those two are in sync and sometimes they're not. So we've got all four measurements captured. We're going to recenter the wheel. This is in fact our caster measurement, okay? We're centered again. Hit K4 on the remote. Very good. Okay, we're in. And the video driver on that monitor is crapping up too. It's super common on those machines. So now I'm going to visually level this steering wheel, and I usually would use the bottom. I would imagine a line across the logo, or take something vertical and then imagine a vertical line. Same thing on a horizontal plane. You want to just eyeball it. So you bring your head back and you eyeball it some. Wiggle your wheel a little bit, because we did a bunch of turning action. And we have turn plates, but there's still some friction there. So we want to wiggle the wheel, and that's going to translate into some wiggling of the tires. And that back and forth moment is going to relax all of the steering, and it's going to remove any pressure to one direction or the other. Now we can go ahead and shut the vehicle down, and let's do a battery recharge recheck. All right, battery's good. We'll shut it back down again, and let's check out our numerical values here. Let's see what we've got. Yep, right here. So let me visualize this a little bit better. Show bar graphs. Yeah, we'll go to bar graphs. That's rear. Show next bar graph. There's our fronts. Our front caster on the right front is negative. Positive on the left, super negative on the right. So when this thing experienced its impact, this whole everything was pushed this way some, negative caster. So we've got something bent, okay? Let's go check out our rear. So our rears, left side's negative 15 degrees, 0.15 degrees, pardon me. The right side's positive 0.25, okay? Toe on the left is towed in 0.12 degrees, and it's towed out 0.12. So the rears are parallel to each other, but they should be doing a pizza pointing towards each other, okay? So that confirms that my right rear did in fact take a hit. So what we're doing is pointed out, and we're leaned out this way. There's something bent there somewhere. It's possible we can fix that just by making some adjustments. It looks like there is a control arm in there for a caster adjustment. But the toe adjustment, different story. I think this arm here may also be bent. Okay, so fortunately for this Jeep, I believe that's somewhat adjustable. If we were to take this guy off, pull the bolt out of it, take that jam nut loose, and then give this like 1 or 2 turns in, it'll draw the top of this knuckle more vertical. And then we can adjust toe with this guy right here. However, that's at maximum positive. See the that cam bolt right there, how the bolt center is offset of that washer? This is max this way, which means this little arm is pulling this arm inwards towards the center line as much as possible. So there's no more positive adjustment possible here. We have something bent. And it's gonna be this knuckle and this arm assembly. That's all one piece here. Yeah, that guy's bent. There's nothing else that could cause that measurement. Okay. Well, all right, we need one of those. That's gonna get our rear toe kind of back in position. Climb over this. I'm old now and I can't do things like I used to. So we need parts back here, and then this 1 degree here. That's a rough one. Well, it's either going to be the strut or a subframe. Excuse me, words. Subframe shift, right? Or the knuckle. Now, we saw from this ball joint getting the daylights torn out of it, the impact was localized here. So I know that knuckle took a hit. What we don't know is how far the wheel got like yanked out from the center line of the car and how much load was put on the strut. I think the strut was probably a little bent. It's usually common enough where if there's enough forces applied to the knuckle to bend it, then those same forces were exerted on the strut. I'm going to recommend that we replace the strut and this knuckle on this side. That little guy right there, yeah, that's the sway bar link. Let's eyeball this actual sway bar and see if it's bent. So we're pretty close to being in line with this axle. So if we come over here, we're sticking way down. Look, see how far down that sticks off the axle here on this side? And not on that side. So we've got a bent sway bar as well. So we're gonna have to do sway bar, knuckle, strut, sway bar link. We'll do the bushings for it as well. And then out back, we need that trailing arm / knuckle assembly. So it's worse than we thought, but that's why we take measurements and gather information first. So what I do next is we print, where's my print button? We print this, that way it is docutated. Print vehicle, print summary. Nope, not that one. Cancel. Can't navigate my own menus here. Me. Print vehicle. That's the one we want. That's the version that's easily read. So we take that. We're gonna have to buy some parts, order some stuff. This thing is going back under the knife. It needs much more work before it's roadworthy again. That being said, I've got nothing more to offer you guys on this particular video other than a thank you for watching this video. I'm gonna take the next couple of days off because it is Christmas and I'm not coming to work. So if content's a little sparse, my apologies. I'm gonna try to stick in a live stream somewhere in there I can hang out with y'all. Let me know what day would work best and I'll see if I can't make it work. Comment down below if you want to see a live stream and what you'd like to talk about. I don't know what I'm doing with live streams, so I'd leave that up to you guys. Anyway, guys, I'm hanging it up. We're all done. Nothing more I can do. I have to go find parts and let my guy know that it's more broker than we thought it was. Yeah, I think that's about it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for staying here all the way to the end. Don't forget that like button before you go. Have a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. See you guys later in a transmission.